I remember nothing. It works. Welcome to the Police Committee meeting, September 11th, 2025. We'd like to call to order and acknowledge that we are meeting on the and acknowledging that we are on the ancestral, traditional, and unceded territories of the Uncookambuk and Silks people. Uh, so first on the agenda, we have adoption of the minutes held on June the 19th, 2025 be adopted. Seconded. Okay, carried. Okay, and then for new business, we have 4.1 RCMP detachment update. Take it away, Sergeant Rhoda.
Thank you. So thank you for coming today. Just go through my update here. As we move through 2025, it's clear that this year has been a busy one for our detachment. We've responded to 4,498 calls for service so far, which is slightly up from 2024, where we were at 4,469. So despite the pace, our staffing levels have remained steady. In August, we welcomed 4 new officers transferring into Merritt, while 4 others moved on to pursue new opportunities elsewhere. Looking ahead, we're expecting 2 cadets to join us, one at the end of October and another in early November. And we have 2 more officers that are pursuing new opportunities. So staffing levels should remain relatively consistent over the next bit. And to cover our staffing levels, we are at 16, I think, 17 positions municipally right now. So we're doing really well. So if you look at the total calls for service, this is kind of similar from what we look at each time, but 2024 was the highest we've taken in 5 years, and 2025 is on pace to be very similar. I think we'll come in really close. So we're seeing very consistent distribution between municipal and provincial calls to date compared to previous years. So to date, we've taken almost 3,000 calls within the municipality and over 1,200 in the provincial area. It's important to note that current figures may not fully reflect the total volume of files, as some calls have yet to be accurately scored for location. So to date, we've submitted 255 charges to the BC Prosecution Service, positioning the detachment on track for what would be considered an average year in terms of charge volume. While this reflects consistent operational output, it does mark a slight decline compared to the higher charge numbers we recorded in 2024. As you can see in the chart, they were significantly higher than normal years. The shift may be attributed to offender management and incarceration, can also be contributed to case complexity or broader community trends that we're seeing. Nonetheless, our officers remain committed to thorough investigations and ensuring that appropriate charges are pursued in every case. We're going to go to mental health calls. To date, the Merritt RCMP has attended 163 Mental Health Act files. This is continuing a steady upward trend that began in 2022. Current indicators suggest that 2025 will follow this trajectory, placing increasing demands on our officers and resources. These calls are often complex and time intensive, particularly due to extended hospital wait times, which is a challenge compounded by the growing strain on our local healthcare system. Currently, many individuals in crisis must be transported to Kamloops for appropriate care, with further stretches capacity. We are strongly advocating for enhanced mental health supports within the community of Merritt and the development of local hospital capabilities to assess and treat mental health cases directly. Strengthening these services would not only improve outcomes for those in need, but also allow our officers to respond more efficiently across all areas of public safety. As you can see, we are really seeing a strain on calls to officers with these mental health calls and wait times. So far in 2025, the Merritt RCMP has responded to 129 petty theft calls, marking a notable decline compared to previous years, where annual totals approach 200 incidents. If this trend continues, we're on pace to close the year with significantly fewer theft-related calls. This encouraging shift can be attributed to several key factors: improved video surveillance systems at local businesses, increased community cooperation in reporting and identifying suspects, and successful investigations that have led to more offenders being held accountable. These collective efforts are also making a measurable difference in deterring repeat offenses. We've seen a significant decline in thefts, and then I'll also note on this that I didn't put in writing is that we have a few offenders that are repeat offenders stealing from our businesses, and we've seen some really successful outcomes in the courts to keep them in custody. So an offender recently received 130 days in jail for a series of thefts that he did. And he was a significant problem in our community. And so that was really promising to us that the courts we're seeing a trend that certain judges are taking property crime seriously. So that was exciting. So I'm going to just talk about performance stats. So throughout 2025, our officers have demonstrated a strong commitment to proactive policing, despite the considerable workload they continue to manage. We have remained focused on downtown enforcement, having conducted 404 targeted patrols to date. These efforts have included addressing illegal encampments behind businesses and at Spirit Square, doing what we can to ensure public spaces remain safe and accessible. As the city advances its downtown revitalization initiatives, we remain dedicated to supporting that vision, working within our boundaries of the law to respectfully move individuals along and reduce visible drug use in core areas. We are very aware that Spirit Square is an issue. We talk to our members every day about attending Spirit Square. Unfortunately, they can't sit there 24 hours a day. I wish they could, but they can't. So we're there every day trying to deal with the alcohol abuse that's taking place there, the drug use that's taking place there. It's a big social issue that is difficult because we will arrest a lot of these offenders. I released one of them this morning that is a big problem in Spirit Square. And I'll tell you, he's going to go right back to Spirit Square today, drink and cause issues, and he'll end up in our cells again. And it's a revolving door. We are pushing a lot of these offenders to the situation table that we run and are trying to get other supports for them to try to get them out of this cycle. But it's been very challenging. On this note as well, we've had a lot of success recently working with Wes, and we want to continue that that momentum and helping him with businesses, like helping businesses and moving encampments and stuff like that. We moved a couple the other day. And so, we do appreciate those calls from him, and we want to keep working with him on that. So we're very excited for the walk tomorrow. John's looking forward to that and to kind of seeing what we can do to kind of help deal with this issue because we recognize it's a problem. As of now, Merritt RCMP have issued 65 motor vehicle tickets in 2025. While road safety remains a top priority, enforcement efforts have been strategically shifted toward the downtown core to support the broader community safety initiatives. So this reallocation has naturally reduced the volume of local traffic enforcement that we would be doing. But importantly, we have not observed any increase in motor vehicle incidents, indicating that road safety has not been compromised by us kind of moving our efforts to downtown patrols versus doing traffic enforcement. On that note, BC Highway Patrol is going to be fully staffed shortly in Merritt. They're just down one position, so they've actually been out doing a lot of enforcement just around the community and on the highways, and we've seen that as a benefit. So our officers' visibility continues to be a cornerstone of our approach with consistent patrols in both city streets and the highways, reinforcing our presence and promoting safe driving behavior throughout the region. These statistics, like I said, they don't include BC Highway Patrol, but they have been out and about doing a lot of enforcement lately. So in 2025, Merritt officers have conducted 85 school visits, and that spans both the previous academic year and the start of the current one. These visits consist of classroom presentations, safety talks, and informal drop-ins, reflecting on our ongoing commitment to building strong relationships with students, educators, and families. And we've seen a great benefit of being in the schools, especially with a lot of cases that we've taken in the schools at the end of last year and this year, and being able to kind of help move these cases away from the criminal aspect and towards school resolutions or even restorative justice. So it's been a big benefit having those relationships. So as we move through the remainder of 2025, our focus remains on striking a balance between proactive enforcement and response service delivery. We're going to continue to pay particular attention to the downtown core. The continued support of this committee is deeply appreciated. And then I'll open it up to questions.
Well, thanks for the report. I think that addresses a lot of the concerns that we have. I know that a lot of people have been approaching a lot of council and the mayor with complaints. You've addressed Spirit Square, which is kind of top priority. Have you, when you look quarter by quarter, do you find that we're on the same? Like, I know the call volume seems to be very similar to last year, but is there times where there's a particular spike?
Well, we're seeing spike in call volume over long weekends
Yeah.
for sure. I would say like Welfare Wednesdays when, I
Yeah.
think that's saying, but when people are receiving their
Assistance,
social
yeah.
assistance money,
Yeah.
we are seeing a massive spike for upwards of 4 to 5 days after. And that's because the drug use goes through the roof in the community, the
Mhm.
drinking goes through the roof in the community, and we get called to a lot of things. I know that right after the social assistance was handed out, I think 2 weeks ago on a Wednesday, our officers attended, I think it was 7 overdoses that day, right downtown. And I believe fire went to a whole lot more, and so did ambulance. And so it's a huge problem.
Yeah, I think I heard a lot of those sirens downtown because
Yeah.
I'm right there. Okay, I think Councillor Petrosi has a question for you.
Yeah, Josh, yeah, I've met some of your new members and it's great. We've got 5 or 6 female members on
Yeah,
like that, so
think
it's
we have,
great.
yeah,
Great
yeah,
to
it's
see. So,
fantastic.
yeah. Just wanted to speak to you're just talking about the one male who was just released this morning, is probably gonna be back again. And are are we trying to work in partnership with First Nations policing some to deal with some of these people that are downtown? I know they're coming in from the reserves, and whether the bands or the reserves are maybe trying to help or be part of the solution.
Yeah. Yeah, so First Nations policing is engaged. They're actually down in that area as well. We would love to see a broader community approach in dealing with this. And that's not just City of Merritt approach, like we are
Right.
our 5 First Nations communities. We'd love to see a big approach on dealing with all the substance abuse issues and drinking and stuff that's going on. It's a hard issue because it's a social issue, and currently drugs are decriminalized. Um, people are given money that they choose to spend on what, they want to spend it on drugs or alcohol, they can do that. And so unfortunately, that's what a lot of people are choosing to do. And then we have to deal with the fallout, and the public has to deal with the fallout. It would be nice to see like the gentleman that I dealt with this morning. I asked him what we could do for him, what supports we can get him to, can we get him into treatment? He told me he's doing what he wants to do and walked out of the jail cell. And unfortunately, criminally, we don't have a way to hold him or charge him. The courts aren't going to see somebody because the courts aren't interested in charging somebody for being drunk in public. That's the reality. We've got a lot more serious things that are going on in the court systems, and we have to find ways to deal with these issues through other means. So through community partners, like that's why we try to bring up a lot of these clients in the situation table in hopes that we can get mental health involved, in hopes that we can get, other community partners to engage and try to get these people into treatment and get them help.
Okay. Just want to speak about the youth in town, and are you seeing things going up actually dealing with the youth in towns? Like we're talking overdoses or drunken public and theft. Just what are you seeing with the youth in town?
I don't know if I don't think we're seeing a significant spike or trend in that. To be honest, I think at the onset of decrim, we started to see a lot more youth overdoses and things that were happening. And maybe that's just because we were more, in tune to seeing this when decrim took place. But I don't think like today we're not seeing any difference from 2024 in
Right.
regards to that.
Okay. And you spoke about other communities facing the same issues we are, and trying to see if there's other communities that have tried different things, like different detachments, maybe have tried different things, dealing with, these issues, whether you actually speak to other detachment commanders and kind of see maybe what's working, what's not, and
Yeah, and I think like the hard part, I think, for policing, and we do, like, I talk to other commanders, we look at other communities. The hard for policing is we have to work within the confines of the criminal code and the provincial legislation, right? So we can't step outside of that.
Right.
So there's only so far we can go as police, like presence, try to do deterrence, we can do enforcement, but there's only so many police officers that can do enforcement at a time. And if we're attending a domestic in Coldwater, Spirit Square isn't going to be a priority at that point, right? Unfortunately. So, I know that presence downtown, trying to do the enforcement we can is the approach that we can do. I think this is a greater social issue in our province that needs at some point to be addressed by government. So,
So I guess this kind of flows into roundtable discussion, but sorry, I didn't know.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
But we had a presentation brought to council about the wellness center that they want to put at the end of Cooley in the old daycare building. And so, of course, if it's a unit that would be open over the winter, do you think that's more of a key time where there's problems, or is it because it's of the cold weather that there would be less calls and less issues? Like, what do you?
well, definitely in the wintertime, we see less issues in the downtown core because people need housing and shelter. And so, you're going to see them move to housing and shelter. We saw a big decrease, to be honest, when the new shelter was opened and people were there staying there. Because, now these people have housing and they have some ability to, get some help. I think I think we should welcome any opportunity to have some form of treatment in this community for the people that we're seeing. More services to me, depending what the services are and the service they're providing is good. I've talked to Mary Angus about looking at, it'd be lovely to get some mental health treatment and like some mental health, the ability to treat mental health, I should say, in our community, like whether they need to build onto the hospital and have some detox beds available and have, some mental health treatments that they can actually provide in Merritt would be hugely beneficial to our community. Like the fact that, it is a barrier for people to have to go to Kamloops to get treatment, period.
Mhm.
Right. And if
Yeah.
these people were able to get treatment in their community, I think a lot more people would be willing to go. But the barrier is having to go 45 minutes down a highway to get any form of treatment. They're just not going to search that out.
No.
Right. That's difficult. So
And
to
then-
see more treatment in our community would be fantastic.
And stigma, and there's a lot of different issues where people don't seek out treatment, and so the wellness center that they were looking to open that Canate presented to us the other day would be for a winter session, maybe I think 10
10 beds.
beds,
Yep.
and it would be for 6 months. So I mean, it would be a help. It's unfortunate that it wouldn't be a year-round facility, but better than nothing.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering if they had consulted with the RCMP to share that with you.
No.
I mean, I think it's a step in the right direction. Of course, it would be nice if it was year round, because then spring comes, it shuts down, and then do we have these people now downtown, or do they take the time to maybe seek out shelter? Like,
Yeah.
so many unknowns.
Yeah, year round. And you would like, my perspective, I would hope that the goal is to get people healthy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, like that sounds like a great idea. I think they need to have proper security and proper plans in place at a facility like that, because when you can open up these beds, but you are bringing in people that can oftentimes have issues and mental health issues and drug addiction and everything else, that you have to make sure that it's secure and safe for the staff and for the people that are going there.
Who used to operate the one beside the 7-Eleven? Was that the Shelter Society? Because
I
that
think
was
so,
like a day
yeah.
program
Yeah,
type thing
that
for
was the
people to
Shelter
have.
Society.
Okay, yeah, because I think when that was there, I think it kept some people working and busy and giving them activities and things like that. So I don't know if that was, when you saw that shut down, did you see more of an increase in calls, or is it really hard to?
I think we had such a small, I remember being here 5.5 years ago, and I think we had 2 or 3 people that we knew were unhoused in the community, right? So
Yeah.
like the difference today to then is not even comparable.
Yeah. Councillor Petrosi, do you have any thoughts on that?
No, I just know that, yeah, that facility that was, beside 7-Eleven seemed to, I dropped in there a few times, maybe 3, 4 times, speaking to the people that work there, and there were always actually people sitting, watching TV. It was actually a really good place for them to be, right? So, and like you said, if, Canate, you know, they open up their 10 beds or area for people, I think will definitely be a benefit. But safety wise, as you were mentioning, right? You have to have people in place, procedures in place, and yeah.
We weren't facing the same drug epidemic that we're facing now 5.5 years ago, right? Like,
Right.
it's a very different world. So
That's, yeah, that's true. It's scary.
Yeah, we had a quite a long conversation the other night about Spirit Square and the future, what the future looks like. And it's a head scratcher. That's what I said that night, that it's a real tough go there. And I think great that everybody's on the same page trying to, you know, move in the right direction. So, and we'll see after your walk tomorrow what's you know, they're offering downtown or some ideas, and so.
Yeah, I think everybody would like to see a positive outcome, and if you have a healthy downtown, then you have a healthy community.
You know, you mentioned increased lighting at night there and in the back alley, and
Yeah.
just certain things that, you know, might help, but there's lots going on during the day down
Yeah.
at Spirit Square, and yeah, but
yeah, and Marlene will be your best resource for SEPTED ideas for Spirit Square. By far, she's well trained in that and has done
Yeah.
a lot of those type of things. So she'd have a lot of really good input for that.
Well, I think even businesses looking out for each other and keeping watch and lighting and public awareness of things taking place is important. And I think the lighting would help. It won't eliminate all the problems, but I think it might help. Just to,
Yeah.
I know that the mayor had expressed some concern, will that disturb people's enjoyment of the neighborhood, but it's mostly a commercial area, so I don't think there's too many private residences that would be affected by the light, and if they are, they're above the first story buildings. So I don't know, but I think if you do nothing, to do nothing isn't going to help either.
right.
But yeah, so hopefully the calls, while the theft is going down, hopefully through video, in your report with the video surveillance, maybe the lighting and maybe encouraging people to have more video surveillance will help. I don't know, but it is nice to see a decrease in theft calls. Hopefully we can see a decrease in other calls, but I think we have a ministry call with do we have a Minister of Health call booked at UBCM? I thought we had requested that because I know that's a concern for all of council, because I mean, our resources here are inadequate. So I think that will be a unanimous push from council, so. But anyway, I think that's good. I don't know if we have other comments or questions.
So I'm good. Keep up the good work. That's all I
Yeah.
keep saying. So
We do
I
it.
appreciate your team for
Thank you.
sure. So
Yeah, we do. Thank you. So I guess on that note, we don't have any other information items, and I think that would probably conclude the agenda. So thank you for coming today, and that's the end of the meeting.